Hey, hey.
Tobago updates.
Na, 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 na.
Good morning, Tobago.
Na, 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 na.
Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
And welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. And guys, we continue and we get straight into the conversation. And if you're a fish lover or just a fish buyer here on the island of Tobago, you might be wondering, how come fish prices have gotten so high of recent? And today we have the president of the Tobago Fisher Folk Association, Mr. Curtis Douglas, who's going to be talking to us a bit about why we've been seeing that spike in the price of fish. Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Good morning, and good morning to the listening audience and the following audience in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a pleasure to be here this morning.
Good morning, Mr. Douglas. Again, thank you for joining us as always. It's unfortunate that you can join us here in the studio this morning, but regardless, you still made the time to sit down and chat with us, so we appreciate it. Now, we have persons who own restaurants, um, and just other things that continue to buy fish on a regular basis. And a lot of times they buy it at the wholesale price. They buy it in bulk. And they are really the ones, along with persons who just pass by and buy fish for their everyday consumption, that are really feeling the pinch with the rising prices for fish right now. Tell us a bit about, help us to understand why we're seeing this price rise.
Well, first the beginning, in Easter, most time in Easter, fish prices go up, but we haven't seen it go up like this for the longest while in Tobago. Trinidad have a tendency when it's Easter to higher the prices because of the amount of catches, especially in the carried sector in Trinidad. But over the last 2 years, after the last budget, we would have seen a spike in the gas price. So, when you raise gas, obviously everything goes up. And fishermen basically concentrate his profit based on gas because we use gas to go because we use pirogues in Tobago. 99% of the fisher folks in Tobago use pirogues. So whereby we used to use, let's say, a $700 worth in gas now, we're using something like $2,000 worth in gas now to go to catch a fish. And we're talking about now we have to go further. We're talking like 35 miles, let's say from Plymouth. So from Plymouth to 35 miles off, that's close, to Grenada and all of these places. So we have to go further. And all this is taking place because of many different things. High gas price and gas activities, oil and gas activities in the waters of Tobago. And thirdly, we are also seeing the increase in Bajan fishing boats that is harboring or storing, they're pulling the flying fish that deep. So we have to go that deep to catch them because here with how it works in Tobago, we have what you call the plantains. The plantain is the one that comes down from the Orinoco River, come down. And after the plantain, we get the flying fish that feeds on the plantains and also lay. So when the Bajans and them with their mother boats, as they call it, the overnight boats, right, the big ice boats, and they come and they start to give the flying fish lice. So if you pull the flying fish, obviously you will be pulling all the rest of fish, which is the kingfish, the dolphin, and the wahoo, and all of these other fishes, right? So now we have to go further. Now, I'm not sure, I do not want to speak out of timing, but I think the government of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the Prime Minister, would have given the Bajans like permission to fish in our waters, right? That's up to 5 miles from shore. So they have bigger capacity. So we now competing with Bajans for our own revenues. And we most of the fishermen leave home in the morning and come back sometime in the evening and night. We don't have the big boats or the capacity to overnight and spend a week. And when we're talking about Bajan boats out there, we're talking about not 5 or 10. I'm talking about fleets of 20 and 25 and 30 fleets. And on top of that, we have the exploration and the surveys that the oil companies that are doing that are cutting away our fats as well. So it makes it triple difficult. So we're not only competing with people in our Caribbean society, we also competing with people who the government of Trinidad and Tobago give permission to come and explore and run the fish and also damage our fats. So when they damage all of that, fishermen have no chance, opportunity to even say, well, let's hear what we are catching enough so that no matter what we argument and we say, we could lower the price a bit. So we could go home instead of going home with a $500, we could go home with a four. We don't have the opportunity. And if you look around, you just drive around and see there is a scarcity of fish, especially what we call the wahoo and the black eye kingfish and dolphin. So it's really difficult on behalf of Tobago because most time when people making decision, they do not consider Tobagonians. They just make a holistic or a broad brush decision and hope that one size will fit all. Trinidad is sitting comfortable. We as fisher folks in Tobago are struggling. Hence the reason why you're seeing fish prices $45 and $50. Some places you might you might lucky to get 35 or 40. You just drive down to Pigeon Point, drive to Lambo, you drive to Plymouth, drive to Palatavia and see. Just see. And all of this is happening because of all of these things that are occurring in our waters. Now, I know is one country, Trinidad and Tobago, but we have to be very peculiar when we make decisions that hurts the other party. So that is some of the stormy weather that we are going through, the tornado activities that is taking place that making it difficult for us to even survive as entrepreneurs and and as fishermen, as to say. So this is the
So
reason why,
Douglas,
because
you Mr. Douglas, you expressed that most of the issues that you think have been
not
hindering the
I know,
fishermen, well, that you
yeah,
know have been hindering the fishermen are mostly decisions that were made at the central government level. But we do have a
yeah.
Department of Fisheries here on the island of Tobago. What do you recommend, or what are the Tobago fisher folk really expecting to get in relation to representation from this THA on this matter?
I don't know the level of authority that Tobago the THA has, but the THA have to work more closely and show more dedication to all Tobago fisher folk, which is ATFA. You see, ATFA have the knowledge, have the experience, and we are living it each day, right? We are living it each day. What we expect from the THA was more collaboration and more harmony, working together and standing up. And don't afraid to speak and represent your people and demand that you have a say when decision is being made, whether it's 10 nautical miles, 5 nautical miles, or 15 miles. Tobagonians, once you're talking about in the waters or the perimeters of Tobago, we must have a say, especially fisher folk, the agriculturalists, especially the fisher folk, when dealing with decision of these type of nature that will affect the earnings and the ability to have a proper a consistent in your staple in your diet for the people of Tobago and by extension Trinidad. We expected for them to understand one, you need to work with ATFA to listen to see how best we could capitalize on what you call the gas rebate. Whether the THA will now be able to subsidize by some form of percentage to the fisher folks and have a MOU whereby we now start to build as a team together instead of working separate and independent. And two, we must now put try to get ATFA, the members, on certain boards, which is the energy boards and stuff like that, so that we could now speak and represent the fisher folk. So when decision has been made to award contracts to oil companies or energy companies, we must be able to navigate them and guide them right so that they don't destroy the traditional fishing grounds and disturb the flow of fisher folks. But we must be able to work together. Without we have that present, the right people in the right places, we will always encounter that problem. And most of all, I think in my opinion, in my lifetime in the fishing industry, Tobago need to fight for more autonomy to make more that could be able to make more serious decisions to help the growth and the development of this island and the people that dwell in this island of Tobago.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas. It's always a pleasure to have you here. And so you made it very clear the call that you are placing on the THA to become more active in advocating on behalf of Tobagonians as well as the fisher folk and working closely with the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you again soon. Whenever you wish, our doors here at Tobago Updates, they are open to the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association. And we do understand the plight of the fishermen, and I guess we're going to be seeing the ripple effect of this when we go out to buy fish at the restaurants as well, the hotels as well, are going to see the effects of this rise in the fish prices. But before you go, let us know, is this something that it's going to just be seasonal, or can we see this being an ongoing thing for the rest of 2023?
It's ongoing because of what is taking place, the nature of it. Remember, we are doing migratory fish, right? That fish has traveled. That's come down from the head of Charlottesville and come down and go around Tobago. And we have to understand, when you damage the children of the nation, you damage the future of the nation. And when we have Bajans and they in our waters, don't get me wrong, it's CARICOM. But when we have Bajan people overfishing and killing all of our flying fish. What the dolphin and the kingfish and the barracudas, what they would feed on? Obviously, they would disappear. That mean they would be damaging the whole process of our fish stock. And it is also important for the government of Trinidad and Tobago and the THA to fight so that we have a fish stock assessment so that we would know what we have in our waters now. And that would come through proper data collecting through the All Tobago Fisher Folk and the fishing community. There's so much thing we could do to help preserve and save because we know we're talking about food safety in Tobago and the world, right? And we have to learn to start to look out for our own and do the right thing, right? So it is going to be continuous because when you have oil companies coming, cutting away our fads, damaging our fishing ground without any proper consultation or direction to navigate through the waters of Tobago, these things would always happen. So we are trying to prevent that. So we are here to work with the relevant authorities so that we all can coexist, and also we could also maintain entrepreneurship where people could be their own bosses, which are fisher folks and others, and also to maintain that proper staple on the meals or the plate of the people of Tobago and beyond. Because make no mistake, we do also sell fish to Trinidad so that they buy. That's why they say sometimes when they come and they buy fish here in Tobago, they buy it for $35, $40 and they go back and sell it for $50 and $55 a pound, which is the carrot and the wahoo. That's why we have orders of Trinidadians coming up and they ordering for the kingfish and the dolphin, right? So this is what we have to learn to preserve because when the Bajans catches the flying fish, it is recorded as data in Barbados. That is Barbados flying fish when it is not. It is Trinidad and Tobago, because it's one country, basically more so Tobago flying fish. And there is any data processing or activities to state that how much been extracted from the waters of Tobago. There's nothing like that. And these are things we need to set in place to help
And
bring down the price and to also have a proper data to know what we have as fish stocks in our waters of Tobago.
thank you so much, Mr. Douglas. Again,
You will,
thank you so
you
much
will.
for joining us. Well, guys, we are out of time for this interview with Mr. Curtis Douglas. And again, we thank the All Tobago Fisher Folk Association for joining us here on Good Morning Tobago.